Hello and namaste everyone. So, as I mentioned in the post, this tier list is only created by the votes that were given by you guys. I have collected those responses and framed a pivot table in an Excel sheet so that we can use those responses to average out what score or what tier each champion should go in. So here, what I did, I averaged out the scores. I gave each tier a score from for Beyond God tier 6 down to 1 for worst, and then average out those scores, and whatever final tier we got, I put those champions in those tier lists, in that spot in the tier list. I hope you will enjoy this. So let's go. Also, the tier list is dynamics and the form is still open. So I will keep on collecting the responses and will once again change the tier list based on those responses. Once I get sufficient responses, I will keep on all the responses that I have collected so far and average out the scores, and will change the position of the champion if based on the new votes the position is being changed. I will put the link of the form in the description. So let's go.
Okay, so let's start with our first champion. It will be Absorbing Man. So here only one vote was given for Absorbing Man and he has been put into God tier. So let's put Absorbing Man into God tier. Now quickly moving on to the second champion, Adam Warlock. Okay, so here we got a total of 2 votes. One person said that Adam Warlock is beyond God tier, does a crazy amount of damage, and the other said God tier without any reasoning. The final results have been beyond God tier. So let's move Adam Warlock to beyond God tier. So our first entry in beyond God tier. I'm sorry. Let's see Aegon now. Okay, so Aegon also got 2 votes. One for God tier and one for solid. The final round of result is God tier. So Aegon will also be going into God tier. Where is Aegon? God tier. Now let's move on to our next champion, Agent Venom. Lacks damage. Oh, so here is our first entry into the average tier. Agent Venom got 1 vote and he has been put into the average tier. America Chavez. Let's move on to America Chavez. Okay, so here we have got few comments as well. Beyond God tier. All of the people who voted have said that America Chavez is beyond God tier. So first comment is, she's the only one Mystic Goddess. That's great. Very potent damage, and third person didn't give any comment, but the final results for America Chavez are beyond God tier. Please do mention in the comments that whether you agree with these takes or not. And also please remember that the link of the form is still open. We can still update these tiers in the future as well. So let's move on to the next champion, that is Annihilus. Okay, so Annihilus has been put into solid tier, no reasoning. Since there are a lot of champions, so when there are no comments, I will try to move on pretty quickly to the next champion, unless there are some comments to read. Now let's move on to Ant-Man. So Ant-Man also coming out to win solid tier. One person said it was average and one person said it was solid. Overall, the round of result came out to be solid, so we'll be putting him into solid tier. Now, how many of you have been enjoying the Ant-Man buff? I actually didn't use him much since his buff. I tried him before his buff with the there was a poison synergy with the Falcon in the early days. That synergy is no more now. So now let's move on to Arcade. So Arcade has been put into God tier. Okay, so one person said beyond God tier. I don't know why I'm unable to say beyond properly. One person said beyond God tier. He's good on attack because of his lock, annoying on defense, and has a bit of utility. Other person said solid without Any reason? I have also heard pretty good things about Arcade. Do let me know what's your opinion on Arcade. For now, Arcade is going into God tier. Now let's move on to our next champion, that is Archangel. Archangel has only one vote and he has been put into God tier. Okay, so 4 God tiers so far, 2 beyond God tiers, 1 solid and 1 average. No bad or worst till yet. Let's move on to Arnim Zola. Arnim has been put into beyond God tier. Okay, so I'm not really sure why, but please do let me know if I'm missing out something on Arnim Zola. But since the list is community driven, this will be going into beyond God tier. Again, I think I have a bit of cold, that is why I'm unable to say beyond God tier properly. Beyond God tier. The next entry is Bastion. Okay, so the next entry is Bastion. Bastion got 2 votes, both for God tier. The reason one person gave is he's a beast and his SP1 is a killer. Okay, so Bastion goes into God tier. The next champion that we have on the list is Beast. Oh, someone voted for Beast. Beast, as expected, has been put into worst tier. No reasoning needed. Beast has absolutely nothing going on for him at all. So our first entry in worst is Beast. The next champion is Beta Ray Bill or Beta Ray Bill, however you want to pronounce it. Beta Ray Bill has got 1 vote and has been put into God tier. So Beta Ray will be going into God tier. The next champion on the list is Black Cat. I like Black Cat actually a bit. Solid, she has been voted into solid tier. I'll kinda agree. Black Cat is a solid champion. Nothing extraordinary about her, but still fun to play and does a lot of bleed damage and ability failure as well. Okay, so now moving on to the next champion, Black Panther. Black Panther has got 2 votes. Both of them have not given any reasoning, and the tier that has come out for the Black Panther is solid. Let's move on to the next champion quickly. Black Panther Civil War. Okay, so Black Panther Civil War has been put into God tier. I think this may have been a troll vote, but as I said, the vote will decide. So for now, he's going into God tier. If you would like to change the tiers, then please do vote. I don't agree with this, but Black Panther Civil War is going into God tier. Okay, so let's move on to the next champion, which will be Blade. Okay, so Blade has been put into average tier. And a funny comment is there. Blade, Blady, Bladester, Bladarius, Bladero, Bladuski. He's it. That's a nice comment. I would put into solid tier, but for now let's put him into average tier. Next up we have Bullseye. Okay, so Bullseye has got 3 votes. 1 for Beyond God tier, 1 for God tier, and 1 for worst. And the person that said worst, I hate this mid-eye so much, he just sucks. I guess they don't like him on defense. That is why they have put him into worst tier. The final rating that has come out is solid for Bullseye. So we'll be putting Bullseye into solid. Oh, sorry, solid for now. The next champion on the list will be Captain America. So the classic Captain America is the next champion. Classic Captain America's rating is bad. I expected worst, but still bad is also okay. One vote was for bad and one was for worst. The final rating was of bad. Oh, so he's our first entry in the bad tier. Let's move on to the next champion, which will be Captain America Infinity War. Let's see. Okay, solid. Captain America's rating has come out. Infinity War's rating has come out to be solid. One person has given a reasoning for him to of being average. If Liam Neeson was a Marvel character, it would be him. It would be him. I love Liam Neeson. Okay, so and one vote was for God tier, one was for solid. So the final rating came out to be solid. Let's put Captain America into solid. The next champion on the list is Captain America World War II, which has been put into average. Okay, so myself would have again put him into bad or worst, but as per the vote, Captain America World War II goes into average. The next champion is Chilth. Chilth has got a rating of God tier, no reason. So let's put her into God tier. I actually like her. Her bleeds are really good in the long fights. The next champion that we have is Civil Warrior. Civil Warrior, as expected, has been put into bad tier. Nothing really special that he does. Just existing in the game. The next champion in the list is Cosmic Ghost Rider. Beyond God tier as expected. Many people love Cosmic Ghost Rider a lot. And there are pretty good comments as well for Cosmic Ghost Rider. So people that have voted for Beyond God tier have said that 6-star Cosmic Ghost Rider has gotten me through so much story content. Another person said damage and utility. Another person said he is GOAT. One person said it's the best champion ever, man. I have its 4-star and it defeats 6 stars easily. It has insane damage and gets unblockable. It's my dream to get it 6-star. Hope it gets through. I also hope you get a 6-star really soon. One person said God tier and with it said doesn't need a 7-star. The final rating that came out to be for Cosmic Ghost Rider as expected is Beyond God tier. Our 4th entry in the Beyond God tier, and I am still surprised that Arnim Zola has been put in there. So our next champion in the list is Count Nefaria. I have been enjoying Count Nefaria a lot so far. Is it Nefaria or is it Nefaria? I actually don't know the pronunciation. Oh, there are several comments. First one is he the GOAT. The second one is the amount of utility and damage he deals, having bleed immunity, 90% shock and incinerate resistance at base. Then having increased energy, physical and degen resistance with the energy charges. Then his damage is so good and it is increased even further if you are able to apply the energy vulnerabilities. One person said, this man is absolutely nuts. He's my first rank 4 and I will never go back on him. He will murder absolutely anything, even some defenders that counter him. His damage is absolutely insane in his base kit as well. The Furies plus the attack increase based on his ionic charges. I get 5-hit combos that deal easily 150k plus without the energy vulnerabilities. With them, dude just becomes an unstoppable force of nature. SP2 damage upwards of 300k. So as expected, Count Nefaria is loved by a lot of people, and his final rating is beyond God tier. So let's put Nefaria in beyond God tier. Moving on to our next champion, which is Crossbones. So Crossbones has been given a rating of God tier. Let's put quickly Crossbones put into God tier. Again, guys, if you disagree with any of these ratings, you can still vote. I will put the link of the form in the comments, and we will probably after 2 weeks revisit this tier list and change the results based on the additional votes that we get. The next champion is Cyclops Red. As expected, he has been put into worst. He's just Cyclops. I love the blue team one though. Yeah, the blue Cyclops buff has been really good. So let's put Cyclops Red into first tier. Moving on to the next champion, which will be Danny. Again, I don't know if I mess up the pronunciation. Do tell me. Danny Moonstar. Solid, confusing utilities, but decent damage. I actually don't use Danny Moonstar a lot, so I can't really say anything about her. But I'll take your word for it. Let's put her into solid tier. The next entry will be Dazzler. Dazzler is a relatively new champion. Okay, so two people have voted. One have put her into Beyond God tier, and the other have put her into God tier for his utility and damage. And the second one said brutal burst damage. Again, I don't know much about Dazzler, but I have seen the videos that she deals pretty much awesome damage. Moving on to the next champion, Deadpool, the red one, the original one. Bad. Yeah, he doesn't really has too much going on for him. He just regenerates and nothing else. Also, not much people have him due to his exclusivity. Moving on to the next champion, Deadpool X-Force. The initial impressions of Deadpool X-Force buff were really good. I saw many people were beyond hype for his buff, but as I think there was a fix that was made live for him. After that, the damage got a bit of a hit, but still I think he's a good champion. So moving X-Force into God tier. The next champion in the list is Diablo. I actually used Diablo a lot back in the day when he got his buff. I still have him as a rank 3 6-star. Okay, so he has been put into God tier. I will say he's solid, can be God tier also. His regeneration has a lot of potential, and he can deal pretty decent amount of damage here. Moving on to the next champion, Dr. Doom. Dr. Doom better be in the Beyond God tier, and he is. Knew it. Everyone who has voted for him has either said Beyond God tier or God tier. So the reasons are as follows: because he's broken, he's GOAT, it's Doom in time. Like the play on its Morbin time. Blank, no reason there. God tier reasonings are Dr. Doom. So I will try to make a voice for it. The world must not lose a magnificent. Messed it up. The world must not lose a magnificent brain like mine. Easy to use, immune to armor break, easy staggers, easy nullifies, easy stun loop with SP3 and SP2, easy power drain. Just needs a 7-star. Absolutely goated from the start. Couldn't be better. And the final rating is Beyond God tier, and I will agree with that. Doom has been relevant in the game since his launch, and still many people use him for so many purposes. Moving on to the next champion, Domino. Domino has been put into God tier. I myself would put Domino into Beyond God tier, especially because I have her as a 7-star rank 3. She's just crazy in terms of damage, but I can see why she has been put into God tier. There were 4 votes. One said Beyond God tier and 3 people said God tier. Beyond God tier said just luck. God tier has one comment as Lover as well, good damage, both an attacker and a defender. Just lacks a bit in utility. So yes, I will agree with that. For now, let's put her into God tier. So the next champion in the list is Dormammu. Dormammu has been put into bad tier. I will kinda agree with that. Dormammu is not that much relevant anymore. Used to be really solid defender back in the day. There were no counters for his G generation and used to annoy the people in Alliance Force a lot. Let's move on to Drax. Okay, Drax has been voted as beyond God tier by someone with the reasoning of he's strong. I will agree with the upper take that have said that he's just bad, and I'll thank you for voting him as bad. Otherwise, he would have been again put into beyond God tier. For now, I'll move into solid. I do not agree with this take, but I will move Drax into solid category. I don't go into God tier. Let's put him into solid. Moving on to the next champion in the list, that is Dust. I like Dust a lot. Good attack, good defense, and good utility. And God tier. So one person said beyond God tier, one person said God tier. I myself would probably put her into solid tier. Not a beyond God tier category for me, but maybe that's just my opinion. For now, let's move her into beyond God tier. Okay, so now the next champion in the list is Emma Frost. Emma Frost has been put into solid tier. I'll agree. Emma Frost is kinda good champion. Actually has a lot of utilities. Can counter evade and has several immunities when she gets into her diamond form. Moving on to the next champion, Enchantress or Enchantress, however you would like to pronounce it. Though not so good on attack, actually more like the ramp up. More like the ramp takes too long and I am lazy. Okay. So one vote for Enchantress and she has been put into God tier. I actually use Enchantress basically for defense in BGs. Still many people are, even me, including me, uncomfortable while fighting her on the defense. I still myself get beaten a lot sometimes. Just one special and you are KO. The next entry is Future Ant-Man. Future Ant-Man. Okay, Future Ant-Man has been put into God tier. I just hate to use him on attack. Again, I don't know much about Future Ant-Man as I haven't never used him a lot. Just know a little bit basics about him, but I'll take your word for it. So, Future Ant-Man goes into God tier. The next entry in the list is Gallon. Gallon has been put into beyond God tier, and from what I have seen, his damage is absolutely crazy on that harvest. Not only is bro an actual god, but that harvest, oh baby, yeah. I'm sorry if that made you uncomfortable. I dream of Gallon at night. Now that made me uncomfortable. I don't know what you are doing at night, brother. So let's put Gallon into beyond God tier. The next champion in the list is Gamora. Solid, just a really solid all-round champ, very basic and easy to use, especially for newer players. Great for small/big health pools, with easy access to buffs and a quick ramp up. Also a great boss fight pick for end of act content, example Grandmaster. Okay, so I myself would probably put Gamora in God tier maybe, or maybe in Solid itself. I actually use Gamora a lot when I play BGs. I don't play BGs that often, but whenever I play Battlegrounds, I like to use Gamora a lot because of her quick ramp up. She can easily deal a good amount of damage that is usually helpful in finishing the Battlegrounds fights quickly. For now, let's move on and put Gamora into God tier. The next champion in the list is Ghost. Okay, so Ghost actually used to be, I would say, beyond God tier when she was launched. She absolutely used to wreck opponents, and her phase ability to convert debuffs into furies was absolutely nuts, and the damage that we got out of her at that time was absolutely crazy. But for now, I'll agree that she's maybe in God tier now. The reasonings have been she does a lot when it comes to utility, and the damage is also great. I would agree. Only negative is her name reminds you of all the Hus that ghosted me. I'm sorry, sorry for that. But let's put Ghost into God tier category. Moving on to the next champion in the list, Ghost Rider. Average. I would have probably put him into maybe bad. Average also works, I guess, and I agree with you totally. He's there, I guess. He's just existing in the game, not too much utilities, and it took a lot of time for Kabam to make him incinerate immune as well. So for now, let us put him into average tier. No, average tier. Moving on to the next champion, that is Gore. God tier, easy, simple, and is heavily underrated. God tier. God does a lot of damage on his special 3 as far as I remember. Think I made a video back in the day about his damage as well. Moving on to the best champion in the game, Groot. And he's the worst. Yes. Bro needs a buff yesterday. Let's move him to worst here. Third entry in worst. So far the worst picks have been Beast, Cyclops and Groot. I would agree with that. Moving on to the next champion in the list, Guardian. Guardian is a decent champion. Okay, he's been put into God tier. I will probably put him into solid, but I can see how someone might use her as God tier. Guardian into God tier. Moving on to the next champion, that is Gwenpool. Okay, so not many people use Gwenpool. She can do a lot of things. I will go so far as to say that she is solid. She's better than average in my opinion. Her bleeds and incinerate damage can be pretty useful. But for now, let's move her into average tier. Moving on to the next champion, that is Havoc. Havoc has been put into solid tier. Alex Summers is decent, which they made him more movie accurate. So Havoc goes into solid. The next champion in the list is Hawkeye. Hawkeye has been put into bad. I can see why. I maybe think he's average, not bad, or maybe the top of bad. But for now, let's move Hawkeye into bad. Still, I don't think many people use Hawkeye. Hawkeye has a decent utilities, but even after his buff, I still don't think many people use him. And moving on to the next champion, that is Hela. Hela average, and there is a pun. She's got a hella potential, but needs a buff. I think Bureau Man will disagree with you probably. I think he has a lot of videos showcasing. I don't know if she uses or still, but back in the day, I think there was a rage on YouTube when a lot of people were showcasing how Hella has a lot of potential even as a 3-star. Maybe I remember it incorrectly, but people are using Hella in Abyss and everything. But for now, let's put her into average. Moving on to the next champion, Hercules. I think we all know where he'll be going. Probably in Beyond God tier. Oh, he's in God tier. Somebody has voted him as first as well. Okay, so I will have to somehow blur that word, and I can't say that read that comment, but somebody has very strong opinions on Hercules. So for Beyond God tier, the reasonings have been he's awesome, overpowered. His immortality saves me all the time. Simply immortality, and one has said obvious. From God tier, the comment is I know he's 2 but still he lacks something when it comes to Cyclops versus Hercules damage. Rotation maybe. That's the reason he's in God tier for me. I have him 6-star ascended signature ability 43. Okay, respect the opinion. Solid. Somebody has put him in solid because he just needs a 7-star. Okay. And for worst, overrated as F, does nothing else except flexing his damn chest. So somebody is agree with Hercules. So let's move him into God tier for now. I myself don't agree with the final rating. I think he should be in Beyond God tier. But if you guys disagree with these ratings, do mention it in comments, or better yet, keep filling the responses in the forms. We can improve this tier list in the future. Moving on to the next champion, Hit Monkey. His final rating is God tier. 1% said Beyond God tier and 2% said God tier. The reasoning for Beyond God tier is monkey, and for God tier it is good utility, cleans out modern health opponents, cleans out medium health opponents, crit bleeds, evades high damage. Agreed. So let's move Hit Monkey into God tier. Moving on to the next champion, which is Howard the Duck. Howard the Duck, worst. I will not say he is worst. Probably before the buff, maybe. But after the buff, I will not say he's worst. I'd say he's a decent champion, but still, as per the votes, I will have to put him into worst. So let's move Howard the Duck into worst here. Moving on to the next champion in the list, Hulk. Hulk after his buff has been phenomenal, guys. You must have seen a lot of videos on my channel. I absolutely love him. I have him as a 7-star rank 3. Absolutely demolishes anything. Okay, so he has been given a rating of solid, and one reasoning for average tier rating is Thor. Okay, so that's confusing. Maybe somebody wanted to put Thor in average, but first they put in the name of Hulk, and then in the reasoning they put Thor. Or maybe Thor is bad, that is why they are putting him into average tier. I'm confused here. One has put him into God tier and one have put him in solid, lacks utility and bad on defense. Okay, so I can see why you think he's in solid. For me, personally, he is Beyond God tier, or God tier at least. But for now, let us put him into solid tier. Moving on to the next champion. We have Hulkling. Hulkling, I think, is liked by most of the community. Yeah, he has been put into God tier. So 2 votes were for Beyond God tier and 1 vote was for solid. Would have been at least God tier if he had a 7-star version. Okay, so many people are angry because many champions are not in the 7-star version. I think Kabam doesn't want to release 7-star versions of some champions because they fear that they might be too OP. Hulkling goes into God tier territory. Moving on to the next champion, which is Human Torch. Human Torch has been put into God tier. God tier, 7-star needed. Solid for 39,000 units. No, God, just no. They are talking about the recent heat wave sales tracker that has been going on for getting a 7-star version of Human Torch. You need to spend 35,000 units in the sales event. So let's move Human Torch into God tier category. Most of the champion have been put into God tier so far. The next entry in the list is Hyperion. I absolutely love Hyperion as well. God tier. The amount of metas where they nerf it's ridiculous. For me, I will say Hyperion is one of those champions that have stood this test of time. I think Archangel, Hyperion are some of the champions that have stood the test of time. They are still as much relevant as they are, as they were, as they used to be. They are still as much as relevant. I think them. I still use Archangel as a 6-star rank 5 a lot. I still love to use Hyperion whenever I get the chance. So Hyperion goes into God tier. Next champion in the list is Immortal Abomination. Solid. Okay, so I can agree. You can see. I think he's better than Solid. Maybe I don't know. I don't use him that much. But I remember some videos from probably Brian Grant. I think whenever he used him, he seemed to be a pretty solid champion. As here they have said solid, so let's put him into solid. So I will need to maybe reduce the size of the tier list a bit. There we go. Solid. I think I should reduce more so that we can see the full tier list. I think that's better. Moving on to the next champion in our list, which is Immortal Hulk. Immortal Hulk is also loved by quite a few people in the community. Oh, here has been voted an average. Surprising for me. But let's put him into average. After Immortal Hulk, we have Infamous Iron Man. Okay, so we have a God of Reasoning here, God tier. He's underrated, but he has a lot of uses out of the mutant class. You can take more on almost. Okay, so I took a pause at the wrong time. He is underrated, but he has a lot of uses. Out of the mutant class, he can take on almost every mutant champ in the game fairly easily. His damage output is also amazing. He was my first rank for 7-star and I have no regrets. He can be stun immune for the entire fight if you want to. He's tanky and his sig ability gives him a good utility. So both the votes were for God tier. So let's put Infamous Iron Man into God tier. Next one is Invisible Woman. She has been put into solid. Let's quickly put her into solid because we have still a lot of champs left to cover. We are on I. And I think the list goes down to Y. The next champion is Iron Man. Okay, so Iron Man, since his buff, has been a really good champ. I've seen a lot of people use him, and his buff has been one of the better ones. So here, two people have voted for him, and both have put him into God tier. One person said just a good champ. Another person has given a pretty good reason. As my first 7-star rank 3, I think he needs much more recognition. I get it that the strongs of tech champs are going up with better defenders, Arnim, Arcade, etc., and attackers, Prowler, Ironheart, etc. He has been overshadowed by them now. I do think he's not the best tech man, but he's versatile. Armor up. His armor up is nullify immune with nice immunity to incinerate and code snap, and best of all, his tankiness. Bro's a walking tank. That's it. That's a lot. I mean, not a lot in sense of writing, but I think that's a pretty solid line of thinking. And where have you mentioned that why you think that the champion is in God tier? I agree with most of what you have said. I think, in fact, all of what you have said. I feel that Iron Man is a pretty solid champion. So let's move Iron Man into God tier territory. Coming back to the next champion, which will be Iron Man Infinity War. Okay, so I used to like him a lot when he was launched. He was one of my first 5 stars that I took to rank 4, I think. Solid. I will agree he's solid. One, though not enough damage. I agree with that take also. Although I think his damage can be ramped up, but that will take a lot of time with his plasma and all. So let's put Iron Man into solid. The next one is Iron Patriot. Okay, so if this would have been beyond God tier, I probably didn't know what I had to do, would have done. And the comment is really great as well. The Forgotten Spin Jutsu Master. So let's put Iron Patriot in the worst. Moving on to the next champion, we have Iron Heart or Heart, whichever pronunciation you like. Love her, a lot of utility and good damage. God tier. I've also seen that Ironheart can do pretty solid amount of damage. I have used her myself as a 4-star, I think, while I was testing her, and I think she has a lot of potential. Jack-o'-lantern, beyond God tier, very easy to play and very efficient. Now about Jack-o'-lantern, I don't know a lot. I have heard some good things about him. I don't know whether this take is appropriate or not. I think when from coming from the one who has been using it, must be right. Beyond God tier. So let's put him into beyond God tier. Beyond God tier. Moving on to the next champion in the list, which is Jean Grey. Jean Grey is a relatively new champion. Beyond God tier and God tier. The best, she has the looks and the damage. God tier, she is a very fun champion to play with. Okay, so let's move Jean Grey into beyond God tier category. Joe Fixit. Joe Fixit solid. I'll kind of agree. After his buff, he's definitely been pumped up in the tier list. He has several utilities, and his bleed damage as a 7-star I think would be pretty solid. I tested him on the live stream as well. I think he can do a fair bit amount of good damage. Beyond God tier for Juggernaut. I will agree with that take. Juggernaut after his buff has been used extensively by a lot of people, and his reverse control immunity is really helpful in certain fights like the Grandmaster fight. Let's read the comments. Juggernaut speaks for himself. It's 1 SP2 and you are dead. Such a cheese champ. He's mostly unstoppable and his relic gives him regen. I wish he was immune to poison or bleed though. I kinda agree, but maybe not. Maybe he would have been a bit too OP then. He's still a pretty solid champion. His damage can be ramped up really fast, really quickly. Really fast is grammatically incorrect, I think. Let's move on to Kate Bishop. Beyond God tier. All 3 votes. Beyond God tier. Quote. Just wish she could have been a 7-star. Blank. Let's move Kate Bishop into Beyond God tier. Beyond God tier. Let's move on to the next champion, which is Killmonger. Solid. Love him. Let's move Killmonger into solid. The next champion in the list is Kindred. Kindred bad, very low damage. I don't think Kindred should be in bad. One has put him into God tier, one has put him into bad. The overall rating that has come out to be solid. So I will kinda agree. The final tier is solid, maybe, right? Maybe I think he could be a bit up in the tier list. I don't use him a lot. I don't know much about him, so maybe the take is right. I don't know for sure. Do let me know. Let's move on to the next champion, King Groot. King Groot in the bad tier. After his buff, King Groot has been, I think, at least a solid champion, but bad is really, really low in the list. I think he's not bad anymore. His Furies and bleed immunity can help in certain situations. Kingpin Beyond God tier. Okay, so let's move Kingpin to Beyond God tier. I like Kingpin a lot. Don't think he's Beyond God tier. Probably God tier. Let's move on to Kitty Pryde. God tier. Okay, I'll not discuss much because we have a lot of champions to go through. Kitty Pryde. I will say though don't like fighting Kitty Pryde on defense. Still, I still sometimes mess up and intercept while she is intercepting or while she is attacking. Null, God tier. Null is God tier. Moving on to the next champion, which is Korg. A defense nightmare in the early days of his launch. It was launched with almost 0 to 1 counters, I think. I don't remember exactly, but I think when he was launched, there was no really solid counter for him. He has been put into solid tier. He's not good on attack though. More of just a defender. Next is Kushala. Now, Kushala, I think many people like a lot. Yes, so all the 3 people have voted as Beyond God tier. Can fight anything and everything with this champion. That's it. I don't use Kushala myself that much, but from what little I have used, I have played with Kushala. I can say that she is a good champion. Next champion in the list is Lady Deathstrike. Lady Deathstrike, her final rating is God tier. And the comment for God tier is needs to clip her fingernails. Whether the damage will drop off then. Moving into God tier. Next is Luke Cage. Luke Cage has been buffed twice, if I remember correctly. Or maybe just once. I think he has been buffed twice. Beyond God tier, I was going to say. Beyond God tier. Cause of high damage and concussions, solid. So the overall rating is God tier. I will say Luke Cage is a solid champ. For me, not God tier category. Maybe solid. But I can see why he might be in God tier category for some. Definitely not Beyond God tier for me. Mangog, God tier, undodgeable SP2, insta kills. Yeah, Mangog on defense can still be pretty nefarious to handle if you push him to SP2. I no longer see him much on defense, but when he was launched, many people were used to put him on defense, and I can't just tell you how many times I have died to his special tool. So let's move Mangog into solid. Was it solid? Was it got tier? Got tier. Got tier. Moving on to the next champion, which is Mantis. Mantis is also a fairly good champion. He has been put into solid. Moving on to the next champion, Medusa. Medusa, when she was launched, was probably God tier or beyond God tier. Not really good. They were not really much good auto block counters back then. I would agree that maybe as per the current meta in the game, she's maybe solid. Moving on to the next champion, which is Mr. Sinister. Mr. Sinister, after his buff, is loved by a lot of people. I can see that here. Beyond God tier 2 votes, God tier 1 vote. Easy to use, big damage, good utility. So let's move Mr. Sinister into Beyond God tier. I wouldn't say he's Beyond God tier myself. I think maybe solid or God tier. Moon Knight. Now here's the real Beyond God tier. I don't know why I voted him average. Probably would go into the bad tier. I have my painful past with Moon Knight. One of my first 5 stars. Out of excitement, I took him to rank 3, and that is why when Moon Knight still leaves, that left a sort of a bad taste in my mouth. I think he's in desperate need of buffs. They have given him a lot of synergies over the time, and he's with his synergies, I think he's still average. They need to probably buff him. A lot of people were thinking that when his web series came out, he would be buffed, but alas, that wasn't so. Moon Knight. Let's move on to next champion, which is Moon Dragon. Moon Dragon is, I would agree, she's a solid champion. I've seen that she can do some crazy damage when played correctly. Moving on to the next champion, which is Morbius. Now it's Morbin time. Sorry for the joke. Please don't unsubscribe if you find this cringe. Solid. He is morbtastic. He is solid in his SP2 damage most of the time. So this critical hit maneuver that he can use on his SP2 can be handy. I recently got him. I still haven't used him a lot. I tried to use him a bit in Alliance War. Used him on some nodes that were not that he should not have been used on, but that was not his mistake. I probably was using him on wrong nodes, but I would agree that he is a contender for being solid. So let's move into solid tier, not solitaire, solid tier. Moving on to the next champion, which is Mordo. Now Mordo I don't used to like a lot, but since getting him as a 7-star, I have used him a lot, especially in battlegrounds. I find his ability to counter buffs through his what was the name? Through his soul bar mechanic, really good. He helps me fighting Red Skull a lot in battlegrounds. I think certain champions, when their damage is increased, they kind of become good. So like Mordo in 5-star would not feel as good as Mordo in 7-star, because then they get a chance. They get a chance to shine with their utilities. I still use him fairly rarely while in battlegrounds itself, both for offense and defense. But in certain instances, I do use him. Like for recently, there was the side quest, multiverse of variants. There I used him. And he can defeat certain champions pretty easily. So let's move Modo to average. Moving on to the next champion, which is Mr. Fantastic. Mr. Fantastic has been voted to be average. No comments there. Moving on to the next champion, which will be Miss Marvel. Miss Marvel has been put into worst, simply worst. I don't agree that she is worst. She's probably average or bad, but I can see why people may feel like that she's worst because she doesn't do anything special. Swida used to make videos with her. Nick Fury got tier. No comments. So let's quickly move Nick Fury into God tier and move on. Next champion is Nightcrawler. Nightcrawler is solid. I actually have Nightcrawler as a 6-star rank 3 or 4 maybe, I don't remember correctly. After his buff, I think he can be used. Not as unusable as before. He has some potential to do damage with his instant bleeds and furies. Moving on to Night Thrasher. Night Thrasher has been put into solid. Where is Night Thrasher? Night Thrasher is here, so let's move into solid. I think we'll again have to make the tier list a little bit zoomed out so you can probably see it all. I think you can see it now. Okay, so let's move on to the next champion. Okay, so the next champion is, after Night Thrasher we have Nimrod. Nimrod is a good champion. Beyond God tier solid. So you got all 3 kinds of vote. 3 people voted, all 3 different tiers. The final results, God tier. So let's put Nimrod into God tier. Nimrod. After Nimrod it is North Star. I haven't used North Star much, so I can't really say much about him. But you guys have to say something about him. God tier. Crazy damage and also very good utility. Passive slow, red numbers, unblockable, etc. Medium fast ramp up for very high damage. Long ramp for incredible damage. Okay. Solid. He's a good attacker, though lacks utility and doesn't pose that much of a threat on defense. So let's move North Star into God tier. Moving on to the next champion, Odin. In here, I think it was Iron Patriot, in which Spinjutsu Master was mentioned before. Okay, so Odin goes into average. I think probably he's a solid champion. He's above average as per me. He has definitely a lot of uses, especially as a 7-star. He can be pretty useful. Moving on to the next champion, which is Okoye. Now Okoye, I have been trying to get her from the featured. I posted a video in which I opened 12. I have opened I think around 15 after that as well. I haven't gotten her a single time. So beyond God tier, I will probably agree from what I have seen, from what I have seen from her. Just because she can do a whole path in Epoch without even hitting the opponent, the death by debuffs 1, you just Dex and put those insane debuffs and they die. Though you have to be skilled. Even without that, she is at least a God tier champ. From what I have seen, she has a lot of potential to put shock debuffs from the opponents. That is why I want to have and test her out. Moving on to the next champion for now, Omega Sentinel. I like Omega Sentinel as well. God tier, I will probably agree. She's solid or God tier. Incredibly versatile. I use her a lot in Act 6 and 7. And both the votes for her have been God tier. God tier. Moving on to the next champion, which will be Onslaught. Onslaught, I think most people will vote for Beyond God tier. Okay, so there are 3 votes, and 3 of those have voted as Beyond God tier for him. I think mostly because he's good both on offense and defense. Avoiding his special 2 on defense is really annoying because of those reverse controls. Now Patriot, I haven't used Patriot at all, so I don't know what. So there are some comments again. Who is bro supposed to be? Rip-off Tom? Oh, sorry. Again. Let's go again. Who is bro supposed to be? Rip-off Tom Brady? My American spirit actually decreases when I. Worst, I picked him from a 6-star Abyss Nexus and then duped him. I want Okoye. So if you're looking for Okoye and then you got Patriot, I can understand why you are annoyed. So let's put him into bad tier. Moving on to the next champion, which is Penny Parker. She's excellent in terms of defense, solid. The final results are God tier. Not much to talk about. Moving on to the next champion, which is Photon. Photon still annoys me a bit on defense. So she has 2 votes, both are for Beyond God tier. Final rating is also Beyond God tier. Moving on to the next champion. The next champion is Platinum Pool. Plat Pool, or as some people might like to say, average. I will not talk much about him because I need to go through several champions still. The next champion is Professor X. Professor X, I think, is God tier. So very easy to use, and when used correctly, it melts opponents and debuffs other beaten champions. Very underrated in my opinion. Professor X goes into God tier. Moving on to the next champion, which is Prowler. Prowler, I have heard really good things about Prowler. People who use him really enjoy it. Beyond God tier 1 vote and God tier 1 vote. He's just good and fun though. I need more time with him. So let's move Beyond God tier. Beyond God tier. I don't know whether he's Beyond God tier or not, but I definitely have heard really good things about him. Moving on to the next champion, which is Psylocke. Psylocke has been put into bad. I won't go as far as to say bad, but I think she's average. Her power lock can still come in handy. Purgatory has been voted into God tier. One of my favorite champs. The raid C's made her even better. Okay. There have been several God tiers. Most of the champions have been put into God tier so far. I think because mostly people voted for the champions they like. Quake has been put into God tier. Okay, so still, I think gate locking Quake as a 5-star has been really annoying for many players who used to use her. Red Goblin, final tier bad, average and worst. Okay, worst. I have it and don't use it. It is a shame. So is he worst because you don't use it, or is he worst because he is bad and that is why you don't use it? But for now, let's put him into bad. I don't think he's bad. From what I have heard, Red Goblin has good potential going on for him. Red Skull, God tier. Okay, I can see why. God tier. I myself have a 7-star rank to Red Skull. Red Skull, not Rat Skull, but Red Skull. Rhino. Now here comes the real Beyond God tier champion. So Rhino, as expected, has been voted into the worst tier. One vote is for bad and 2 are for worst. The reasoning is most booty champ in the game. No question. What advantages does he even have? I can't tell you, brother. Used to be a pretty annoying defender in the start of the game when there were not much unstoppable counters. It was hard to intercept him back then. But for now, let's move Rhino into first. Let's move this a bit up. Moving on to the next champion. I'm sorry, I'm a bit tired. That is why I'm doing all these voices to keep me going. The next champion is Rintra. Okay, Rintra has been put into Beyond God tier. I don't use Rintra myself a lot. I see him a lot on defense, and I have heard that people like him a lot. There were three votes for him. 2 were Beyond God tier and 1 was God tier. No need for ramp up. Best in offense, best in defense, great utility. One of the most broken champ and can tank any special 2 when your opponent is rooted. So let's move Rintra to Beyond God tier. Moving on to the next champion. Okay, so again this is not a champion in the game, but I think one person voted their favorite champion in the Marvel comics. And so I'm currently not checking that out, but there was a comment also along with it. So probably I will read it at the end, because to respect the person that voted, because they wrote a really long comment along with it. So next champion is Sasquatch. Moving into the solid category. Let's go through these remaining champions quickly. Sauron. Sauron is God into 3000. Whenever I hear such terms in thousands, I always go back to my Dragon Ball Z rules. It's over 9000. I always remember that dialogue. Not in that tone, definitely. I don't know what I'm doing. What kind of voice I was doing. Vegeta's voice in English is really heavy. So let's quickly move Sauron to Beyond God tier. Again, I don't think Sauron is Beyond God tier. Maybe am I missing something? Moving on to the next champion. Scorpion. Scorpion is liked by a huge amount of people. Okay, so 3 people voted for him and voted him as Beyond God tier. Scorpion melts the opponents down easily with his stings, and his weight is really great in both defense and offense. Blank. Insane amounts of utility, especially if duped. Massive damage from various sources. Awesome synergies. Okay, so let's move Scorpion into Beyond God tier. And again, these are you guys' thoughts. If you want to change any of these ratings, please do vote. Keep voting in the forms. I'll keep updating the tier list and will make a video whenever there is a significant change in it. I'll keep collecting these responses and averaging it out. I will not delete these previous responses. We'll merge these with the new responses, because the form is still open and all the old responses are still there. So I'll keep on collecting the responses and keep refining the tier list till we have the best community driven tier list. Okay, so Scream has been put into God tier. Great damage and utility and an insane photon and onslaught nuke. She isn't the best of the best, but she's close. Let's move Scream into... Okay, so the tier list has again gotten out of bounds. Let's put Scream into God tier. Moving on to the next champion. Sentinel. Sentinel after his buff has been annoying, especially for those players who are trying to complete Act 6. His armor break immunity now really annoys the players. Good on attack, good on defense, and has some good utility. Beyond God tier. Moving on to the next champion, which is Sentry. Sentry's buff is liked by some, disliked by some. I feel he has some potential in it. Took a century for the community to okay, so it is a pun again. Took a century for the community to find out he was an elite defender. took a century for the community to find out he was in real defense. Good fun there. Good fun there, buddy. Moving on to Gautier. So there were 2 votes, both of which were Gautier only. Moving on to Serpent. Six votes, 5 beyond Gautier, 6 Gautier. Oh, sorry. 5 beyond Gautier and 1 Gautier. Amazing attacker and now an okay defender. Good utility, good damage, both good attacker and defender. No explanation needed. The best champion in MCOC. I'm sorry, it was in all caps. That is why I shouted a bit. So the final rating is beyond Gautier. Beyond Gautier. Moving on to the next champion. Cersei. Cersei has been put into God tier. So actually, Bollywood song came into my mind while reading the name. I will not sing it. Can you guys, anyone who knows Bollywood songs, guess which song might have came in my mind? I'm so sorry, came into my mind. Next champion is Shatra. So Shatra has been voted to be beyond God tier. So let's move into beyond God tier. Moving on to the next champion in the list, which is Spider-Punk. Oh, sorry. I think I messed up the name and made it Cider-Punk. I'm sorry for that. I hope there is only one. Okay, so Spider-Punk. There was one vote for him, which was beyond God tier. Easy Enchantress intercepts. So let's move Spider-Punk into beyond God tier. I have seen that people who use him really like him. Sigil Scarlet Witch has been also put into beyond God tier. Okay. Insane damage from gaining instabilities from SP1 and SP2 is dangerous. Cold Snap, Incinerate. Okay, so let's move it into beyond God tier as well. The next champion is Silk. Silk is also liked a lot by the community. So one person has voted for beyond God tier, 2 have voted for God tier. I think skill. Oh, sorry. There were 2 votes only. One has voted for beyond God tier and one has voted for God tier. I think I think Silk fits in almost every situation because of her strength, damage, and evade. So the final results are beyond God tier. Moving on to Sorcerer Supreme. Solid. Sorcerer Supreme. Solid. Moving on to the next champion, Spider-Ham. 2 people voted for God tier, moves into God tier. Moving on to the next champion, Spider-Man. Solid. The MCOC encyclopedia says otherwise. Why? What does MCOC encyclopedia says? Could somebody tell me, please? Am I missing something? Why? Come down here. Go right there. Go right there. Moving on to the next champion, which is Spider-Man 2099. I use Spider-Man 2099 a lot as a 5-star. I really like this power control with his wither. He's been put into solid, so let's move into solid. Moving on to the next champion, that is Spider-Woman. Damage output is increased by Fury stack and so many differ for an opponent. Easy to use with simple rotation. Counter reflection damage really great. A small chance to dodge attack is helpful. The damage when opponent is using his SP attack is really insane. Very consistent on defense and offense. So there were 2 votes, both of which voted for her to be in God tier. The ever increasing tier is the God tier. God tier just has so many entries in it right now. I think in future the tier list will be refined as we keep getting these votes. I think some of these champions will be changing their places. I definitely hope some of them do change. Spot, God tier and solid. Two votes for him, one God tier, another one solid. Most players ignore many details when using it, so they end up calling it mid spot. But it does not need the SIG 200. I think they are talking about. It does not need SIG 200. Solid. You don't spot this guy again a pun. You don't spot this guy high ranked very often, but still packs a punch when investing. Nice one there. Let's move spot to solid, right? Oh, sorry, got it. Got it. So the next champion is Squirrel Girl. Interesting approach, but as I'm not a dog, I do not feel the need to chase out. She's been put into bad tier. I don't think she's a bad champion. She can inflict bleeds and do good amount of damage. I think she will probably fit into solid category. But as per your opinion, Squirrel Girl is in bad tier for now. Stark Spider-Man. Beyond God tier, 1 vote. God tier, 1 vote. Solid, 1 vote. Final rating is God tier. So an almost guaranteed evade on specials, massive damage and fun to use. I also like Stark Spider-Man a lot. Let's put him into God tier for now. Moving on to the next champion. Storm. Beyond God tier, 1 vote. God tier, 2 votes, and solid, 1 vote. Final rating is God tier. So fire damage, easy to and underrated. After her buff, she has been loved by really good amount in the community. So see how God tier is so large. Just moving on to the next champion, which is Storm Pyramid X version. Average, not the best, not the worst. Solid. Final rating is solid. Now this is happening because I have used a round of method in which rounding up happens when rounding up happens. No need to say that. So just moving on to solid. Sunspot. I like Sunspot a lot. Beyond God tier. I would say God tier. I can see why people might think beyond God tier. Again, there is a really good comment. Flame on, but better. SP2 does like 100 billion damage and he's on fire, which makes it so much cooler. Okay, so let's put Sunspot into beyond God tier. Moving on to the next champion, which is Taskmaster. Final rating is average. One people voted for bad, one voted for solid. He's a fun character in general. When I was starting the game, he was useful, but the problem is he just can't beat any meta champs. And he has just a kit that can't really be used in most fights, especially battlegrounds. Solid. That is what Alison Edits has. This is what Alison Edits had done to me. So Alison Edits really use champion in a really fun way. Showcases some of the best ways to use the champions. Goes into average. Moving on to the next champion, which is the Thing. The Thing is God tier. Moving into God tier. The next champion is Thor. OG Thor. Average, moving him into average, not discussing a lot because I need to get through this. Okay, so the next champ, let's move on to the next champ. The next champ is Thor, Jane Foster. Worst, I don't think she is worst, but for now let's put her there. Next champion is for Ragnarok. Again, worst. I think he's also not worst, but let's put him in there as well. Moving on to the next champion, which is Tigra. Tigra is a really good champion. Beyond God tier 1 vote, God tier 1 vote, solid 1 vote. The final rating is God tier. Because she can cook literally 90% champs in the game if you know her playing style. Just love her and her kit, solid. I also love her heavy miss mechanic. That is really, really cool. And if you can use it in a good manner, you will be able to evade most of the specials in the game. Tigra comes out to be God tier. Moving on to the next champion, Titania. Titania is also really loved by a lot of people in the community from what I have seen. Okay, so 2 people voted for Beyond God tier, 1 voted for God tier. Good damage and the Haymaker will always be top tier. Her lock is too powerful with just a bit of practice. So let's move Titania to Beyond God tier. Moving on to the next champion, which is Toad. Toad is average and no reasonings. Putting him into average, not giving any reasoning. Moving on to the next champion, Ultron. Because he has everything. I guess they are talking about the Age of Ultron version. That is why I used his image. What is it here? Beyond God tier? I don't think it's Beyond God tier, but he's really, really solid champion. He has bleed and poison immunity, obviously, as he's a robot. Also can do a lot of bleed damage and degeneration damage to mutants. Moving on to Venom. Venom has been put into God tier. 1 voted for Beyond God tier, 3 voted for God tier. Final rating is God tier. Good buffs, debuffs, easy to use, nullify on special 1. Yes, I will agree. Really good things going for him on there. Vision, average 3 votes, putting him into average. Moving on to the next champion, Vox. Beyond God tier rating. Oh, a really good comment again. Beyond God tier comment is he simply stands on business, and then for God tier we have Vox in Socks has to be a Dr. Seuss book. Can I get a beat? Beat the rap. Vox in socks with a box full of clocks, tapping and ticking while chasing a fox. He hops on a mop and he slides on the floor, then knocks on the knocker of a knocketty's door. Yo! Good rap there, buddy. So Vox is being put into Beyond God tier. Beyond God tier. Moving on to the next champion. I think we are finally reaching towards the end. There are some responses after YU as well. I will tell you once we reach there, right? Warlock. His damage output is so low for a 7-star and takes too much time to defeating the enemy. Solid. I'm tired now. I think this person must have filled a lot of entries in the form. Thanks for filling the form, guys. I really appreciate it. Moving to solid. The next champion is White Tiger. White Tiger is also loved by the people that use her. Okay, so it's expected. One person voted for her to be in Beyond God tier, and the other has voted for her to be in God tier. Takes on Serpent, Dark Phoenix, and with ease, and most of the time returns with a 90% health and pretty easy to use. Cause she can manipulate power control and is very easy to play and play rotation. So Beyond God tier has another entry. Now moving on to Winter Soldier. Winter Soldier is bad. Winter Soldier is there to be in the rail of legends for testing other champions. He has his own purpose. Wrong. In certain battles, just the Wong champions. Okay, another one. Another one. Moving into solid. Wong. After Wong, we have Yelena Belova. Haven't used her even once. Don't know how she is. Beyond got tier 1 vote, got tier 1 vote. Final rating Beyond got tier. I don't know anything about her, so will not talk much about her. Moving on to the next champion, which is Red Magneto. So now, why these names are not in alphabetical order as earlier names were? Because I started making the list when there were 263 responses, and I received few responses after them as well, which I took them and put them in the sheet as well, because some of the responses I felt that people had put their heart in while writing the comments for them, so I could not just leave them while I had seen them. So I tried to put in as much as responses after those 263 responses as well. That is why when I put these names later on, the list became unalphabetical in order, and I didn't want to create the pivot table again, so I just simply refreshed the data source by changing it. So that is why these names are not in alphabetical order. I am sorry, but let's check Red Magneto. He has been put into Beyond God tier, so I will agree. I think 5-star even takes a lot of medal champions by himself. Max is still one of the best in the game. If the opponent is metal, they are dead. He shuts off regen, unstoppable heavy bleed damage, and immune to bleed, mostly massive crit damage on SP2, and has great synergies. So let's move Beyond God tier. Moving on to Doctor Strange. First, Kabam is dumb. This is freaking Doctor Strange. He should be on par with top mystics and be able to clear loads of content. It is super annoying that Kabam does Doctor Strange dirty. So a lot of people say that Doctor Strange used to be a really solid champion before the 12.0 nerf, I think it is said. Before the 12.0 update, I started playing in 2017. So before that, that nerf had already taken place. Symbiote Supreme, God tier, amazing bleed damage, ability to nullify, and a lot of stuff. Great stagger utility, a good power gain, and simple to use. Underrated champ. God tier for Symbiote Supreme. Moving on to the next champion in our list, which is Stealth Spider-Man or Stealth Suit Spider-Man. He has been rated to be God tier. Underrated pre-fight utility. Power control is actually fairly decent. Massive crit damage, evade, fun to play, and great base damage. Let's quickly move into God tier. Next champion in the list is Valkyrie. Very poor damage, bad. I don't think Valkyrie is bad. Valkyrie is kinda solid, or for me she's solid. She has fairly uses. She can even counter unstoppable with her awakened ability. But I guess it's what it is. Moving on to the next champion, Superior Iron Man. So Superior Iron Man have been loved in the community since his birth. There is a very good comment to go with the reasoning of Beyond God tier, because he is more superior than Iron Man. So up on there. Okay, for real, he has an instinct buff, parry non-contact, that is wanted in the era of this game. On top of all his resistance, bleed, incinerate, shock, and his buff have plus 100 ability accuracy, so not a bad choice for Domino. Have an auto block security net with also big special too. Although I know the cosmic class is packed with champions, but don't underestimate Superior Iron Man, because he could be one of them. Giga Chat. Thanks for the attention. Again, I would like to thank you guys for voting and writing such awesome comments. You guys must have taken a lot of time to think about these things and write them out. Thank you guys. We were moving Superior Iron Man into Beyond God tier. Now coming back to the list of the champions. The next champion is Elsa Bloodstone. So final two champions. Evade comes in clutch way more than often you'd think. Does a ton of damage if you ramp up properly. Cool Snap is really good against all evade champs, which helps with tricky nodes. And one vote for her to be in God tier. I'd kinda agree. I have a Elsa Bloodstone on 7-star as a 7-star rank 2, and I use her here and there, and I like her damage quite a bit. The next champion is Black Widow Deadly Origins. First rank 4 of mine, really easy to use, huge damage over time, swift motion allowing intercepting efficiently, and honestly pretty satisfying special 2 that destroys the opponent. Fire. So she goes into solid tier. So this is the final tier list. You guys can take a snapshot of it, or whatever you want to do. So I think we did pretty good on some champions and pretty bad takes on some champions. Give your thoughts. Give your thoughts on the tier list, guys, in the comments. And if you want to change some of these ratings, please keep on voting in the form. I will drop down the link in the description box or in the comment section as well. So thank you, guys. This is the final tier list. Thank you for the opportunity.